Welcome to today's Tea Time audio story. It's time to slow down, take a deep breath, and enjoy a moment just for you. As you sip your favorite tea, let your mind drift into the world of stories, where imagination comes alive and anything is possible. Listening to audio stories isn't just entertaining, it's also a wonderful way to relax, spark creativity, and improve your English in a natural and enjoyable way. Stories have the power to transport us to far-off places, introduce us to new characters, and remind us of life's little lessons. So whether you're here to unwind, learn something new, or simply enjoy a quiet escape, this is your time. Get comfortable, let your worries melt away, and allow today's story to take you on a journey. Let the magic begin. Leanna had always learned to endure, to exist in silence, to absorb the whispers, the laughter, the stares, and swallow them like bitter medicine. She convinced herself it was safer that way. That being quiet meant being invisible, and being invisible meant being safe. But safety was a myth. It was a Thursday afternoon when everything changed. The day started like any other, ordinary and heavy. She walked through the halls of her school, hugging her books to her chest, keeping her eyes down. She had learned to navigate the shadows, to stay small, to keep her presence minimal, to survive. The cafeteria had always been her least favorite place, a war zone of glances and whispers. Leanna grabbed her lunch and made her way to her usual corner table, one safely tucked away where she could eat in peace, alone, unnoticed. But that day, something was different. She was halfway to her table when it happened. Someone's foot shot out into her path. She didn't see it until it was too late. Her foot caught the edge of the sneaker, and she stumbled, her tray tilting, sending food splattering onto the tile floor. The world paused. Silence fell, heavy and sharp. For a moment, she hoped, prayed, that she could recover. That she could pretend it didn't matter, that she could pick up her tray, walk away, and forget. But then the laughter came. Harsh. Cruel. Unforgiving. Guess the floor's hungry too, someone snickered. Careful, Leanna. Wouldn't want you to eat it all in one bite, another voice taunted. Leanna's face burned. She could feel her pulse in her ears, hot and sharp. She didn't look up. She couldn't. Her hands shook as she tried to gather the pieces of her lunch, but it felt impossible. Her fingers fumbled, her heart raced. Her throat felt tight, closed. And then, the final blow. Maybe next time skip lunch. Might help you. The words sliced through her. Quick, clean, devastating. Leanna stood there, frozen. She could feel the weight of every stare pressing against her skin, each one a reminder of how the world saw her. Unwanted. Unworthy. Less. She didn't remember leaving the cafeteria. One moment she was standing there, trembling, and the next she was outside, the cold air shocking against her skin. Her breath came in ragged bursts, her chest tight. She leaned against the brick wall, pressing her forehead to the cool surface, willing herself to disappear. But she couldn't disappear. She couldn't pretend anymore. The truth was undeniable. She was tired. Tired of the looks. Tired of the whispers. Tired of feeling like her worth was measured by the size of her body. And something inside her broke. Or maybe it wasn't breaking. Maybe it was waking up. She deserved more. Not because of what anyone else thought, but because she was tired of carrying this pain, this shame, this exhaustion that weighed heavier than any number on a scale. That night, Leanna stood in front of her mirror. She studied her reflection, not with hate, but with something quieter, something deeper. She didn't think she was ugly. She didn't think she was less. But she knew she wasn't living. She was surviving. And that wasn't enough. She wanted to feel strong. She wanted to feel free. She wanted to look in the mirror and see more than the body that carried her pain. She wanted to feel like she owned her life, her choices, her future. So she made a decision. Not to lose weight for them, but to change for her. The next morning, she woke early. Earlier than usual. The sky outside her window was still dark, the stars faint, but she was wide awake. Her body buzzed with purpose, with determination. She dug out a pair of old sneakers, worn and dusty from lack of use. She laced them up with trembling fingers, but her hands were steady with resolve. She stepped outside. The air was crisp, cool against her skin. The street was quiet, empty. It felt like the world was holding its breath. And then she began to walk. At first, it was slow, awkward. Her body protested, her muscles stiff. But she kept moving. One step, then another. She didn't think about calories or weight. She didn't think about mirrors or reflections. She thought about freedom, about taking control, about walking away from the shame, the fear, the pain that had gripped her for so long. Each step felt like a victory. Each breath, a defiance. She walked until her legs ached and her lungs burned. Until the edges of her thoughts blurred and softened. Until the memory of the cafeteria, the laughter, the cruel words faded into the background. And when she finally stopped, standing beneath the pale pink stretch of morning sky, she felt something shift. Not a transformation. Not yet. But a beginning. The days that followed weren't easy. Change wasn't easy. But Leanna welcomed it. She started small. Walking every morning. Choosing meals that felt nourishing, not punishing. Drinking more water. Sleeping earlier. Tiny steps. Small victories. Quiet moments that added up, one after another. She didn't tell anyone. Not her mother. Not her classmates. This was hers. This was private. Sacred. It wasn't about proving anything to anyone. It wasn't about acceptance. It wasn't about attention. It was about reclaiming her body, her mind, her life. And that meant facing the hard truths. The moments when she wanted to give up. The nights when the cravings crept in, when old habits called her back. The mornings when her legs felt too heavy, when her chest ached, when it felt like too much. But she kept walking, kept moving, kept fighting. Not because she hated herself, but because, for the first time, she was learning how to love herself. Weeks passed. The walks grew longer. Her steps became lighter. Her body, stronger. The mirror didn't change overnight. The numbers didn't fall like magic. But inside, something was shifting. She felt it in the way her body moved, in the way her mind quieted, in the way her heart opened to the possibility of something more. And when she walked past the cafeteria weeks later, she didn't flinch. She didn't look away. She remembered. But she wasn't defined by it anymore. She was more than that moment. More than that pain. More than those cruel words. She was becoming. Thank you for joining today's Tea Time story. We hope you enjoyed this journey into the world of imagination and storytelling. Whether it made you smile, sparked a new thought, or simply gave you a moment to relax, we're grateful to have shared this time with you. Thank you for listening and being part of our story time. Keep dreaming, keep imagining, and we'll see you again for another magical tale soon. Until next time, take care and happy listening.